Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another day here at Bronie's desk. And it is our week where we have our amazing friend, Pharmacist Ben. Some of us saw him at 2 a.m. in the morning, Sunday morning, on an event which was absolutely brilliant. And man, I'd love to be able to talk about those particular products right now. But however, as we can't get them down under yet, we will leave that for another day because they are going to be absolutely awesome. So Ben has to make sure he gets away on time today, as do we. So we will get straight into it. And Ben, I asked you because we have a young lady who's on here today who would like you to talk on the topic about iron deficiency, anemia, and fibroids. Yes, is that correct?
Now, is it the same person who has both conditions?
All three, yes, that would be.
Are you serious?
Say your name? She's on here. Yes, Annalise.
Oh, yes.
She's here as Michael.
Oh, my goodness. Let's talk to Michael and Annalise. Let's talk to Annalise.
She just happened to be
Hi there. Sorry. I've got myself muted because I've got 5 children in the background.
I want to see you. I want to see
you. Hang on.
Let
me find her. Annalise, where'd you go? I'm going to spotlight her because there you go. It's school holidays, but no, you guys go back sometime, don't you? Anyway, this is the young lady in question.
I can tell already. You know, I've been doing this for 43 years. Can you believe this? 43 years. And in 43 years, I've seen thousands upon thousands of people. And so I can get a sense of things by looking.
And I think she's frozen, but that's okay. We can still see her beautiful face.
That's good. I want her to be able to hear, though. Can she hear us?
Oh, yes, I'm sure she can.
Well, how do we know she can? She might be cut out. She might be somewhere else.
Annalise, can you hear us?
She's frozen. Bronie, how's she going to say anything? She'll unfreeze for a second.
If she cuts out, she will get the replay for sure.
Oh, I don't think. Okay. Oh, she's gone. Yeah. Maybe she'll come back. Maybe she'll come back. Okay, no, but I really want to talk to her because she has more than that going on. I can tell by looking at her. That's why I want to talk to her.
Yes.
I'll tell you, we'll just talk. It'll be on recording. Okay? Okay. So right away, I can tell she's hypothyroid. Right away, I could tell, right from the get-go. The thyroid is the point, and I don't expect anybody else to be able to know that. But they're connected to the symptoms. When she talks about iron deficiency anemia, A, and then she talks about fibroids, B. And then I looked at her picture and I could see she was hypothyroidism. What do you got? Hypothyroid. What do you got there? You have the triangle of disease. She's dealing with the triangle of disease. And this is so important. I know, repetition is reinforcement, and I'm going against the mainstream when I say this, but it's really important from a healer perspective, as distributors, as caretakers of loved ones. Hello, Annalise, Michael, Annalise. Annalise, you're the second Annalise.
I'm so sorry. I have connection problems. It keeps.
No worries.
Keeps disconnecting.
I wanted you to hear, though. I want you to hear this. So I don't know how much you know about what I talk about, or if you've been on calls before, or if you know anything about it. But I have a concept.
It's pretty new.
Okay, you're pretty new. I have a concept I call the triangle of. Were you going to say something?
Yes. I was going to say I've been every night. I'm listening to things, so I'm new, but I'm deep.
Good for you. Good for you. This is why I love Australia and New Zealand, by the way, because Annalise. I love that because while the government wants you to be one way, the people are so open-minded and so interested and so understanding that there's another way. I love that. I love that, and I do a lot of stuff with Australia and New Zealand, through Zoom, and I love it. It's so beautiful.
I've been awake for years, but coming along, finding longevity. Oh, wow.
What's happened to your country? What happened to your country with all you beautiful people here? Why are you letting them do this? So anyway, so here's the thing, Annalise, and I can tell by looking, and I don't expect anybody else to understand. You're hypothyroid, okay? So you're how old? 40s? How old are you? 30? Late 30s, 40s?
Turning 45.
On the 16th, 2 days before my birthday.
You need to get this under control quickly because you're heading into a place where it's going to get worse. Right. So right away, I can see you have some thyroid problems, and that's the third point on what I call the triangle of disease. The triangle of disease are 3 points of bodily breakdown that underlie everything. And if you try to approach the everything without the triangle of disease, you can't do it. It's like trying to take care of the apple, a rotten apple, without fixing the soil. Once the apple's rotten, you can't fix it. You have to get to the soil for the new apple, and the body's constantly developing, constantly changing, constantly morphing, constantly growing, constantly repairing. So you want to leverage it and access it at the point of the cause, where the breakdown is occurring, not where the symptom is. Where the symptom is the doctor business, and this is no knock on doctors, and I have to say this. It's very important that I say this, and everybody hears this, and everybody should know this. And doctors are good people. This is not about the people. It's about the paradigm and the model. And so, I don't want to say all doctors, there's bad apples everywhere, but for the most part, nurses, doctors, people in the medical field, they're good people, but they're not looking at it the right way. Not from a healing perspective, because that's not their job, Annalise or Bronwyn or everybody listening. It's not the doctor's job to heal you. It's the doctor's job to get you by. Do you see the distinction here? To get you by. We want to heal you. We want to, well, not heal you. Your body's going to heal you. We're just going to tell you what to do. So the triangle of disease are the 3 points that underlie everything. 3 points, and they break down sequentially and developmentally. One leads to the other, and then they circle around again. I call it a triangle, but it spins, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's the digestive system, the blood sugar system at the base of the triangle, and the what I call the adrenal thyroid axis, the connection between the adrenal glands and the thyroid. There's a very important relationship between the adrenal glands and the thyroid. Okay? Now, your problem specifically, that they're addressing, is iron deficiency anemia, correct? And fibroids, correct? You have many other things going wrong. Many other things. Okay, well, look, I'm not Psychic Ben. I'm just Pharmacist Ben. So it sounds psychic. It sounds, oh my God, but it's a syndrome. It happens as a package. The body breaks down in a generic and coherent way. It's not random. It's not viruses and your genetics and your mother had it and this and that and the other. It's not that. It's logical. It's engineering. Any engineers out there, you know exactly what I'm saying. The body is an engineered system with an engine that was engineered by, we can't even comprehend that thing that engineered it. It's incredibly and impeccably networked and connected. And if you understand symptoms, you can work backwards. So, number one, my dear, the first point on the triangle of disease is the digestive system. There is nothing in the way of chronic disease or long-term disease, like sometimes you hear about long COVID, or you'll hear about chronic Lyme disease. I don't know if you've heard these things. Do these sound familiar at all to you? Okay. Yeah. These things where you don't recover, they fall in the same category as chronic disease, especially female issues. You're talking uterine fibroids, I imagine, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so especially uterine fibroids. Toxicity that gets into the blood revs everything up. Revs it up. Boom, boom, boom. Growth, speeding, inflammation, fluid, growth, boils, cysts, fibroids, adhesions, endometriosis, and all this revved up tissue growth. That's a sign of major toxicity entering into the bloodstream through the digestive system. That's called leaky gut. Okay? And you've had to have digestive problems for a long time. I'll tell you how I know that.
It's really interesting because I don't have any.
No.
I try to.
No. That's like saying, oh, I got smoke here, but there's no fire. You say, oh well.
I was saying I've not had any other symptoms. It's so weird.
No.
I'm trying to help everybody else with these things.
Oh, this isn't you. Oh, this is other people.
Yes.
This is other people. Ah, it's interesting. Well, you might want to. There might be some things going on with you as well from the hypothyroidism. Yeah. Have you been diagnosed as a hypothyroid?
No.
Have you been diagnosed? Yeah. So you might want to look into that, but that usually follows the other things. So as far as your friends go, or your client, these are customers or family members or whatever they are.
So my husband has celiac disease. So I've been.
Who has the iron deficiency anemia and the fibroids?
Me.
You got to be totally confused here. Are we talking about you, or are we talking about other people?
No, she's talking about her. She's talking about her, but I think because she said fibroids, and then you're talking about thyroids, is what you said.
No, listen. Let's just cut to the chase here. You got to correct leaky gut. A.
Yep.
All right. You know what that is? You know what
Yep.
that is, right? All right. Leaky gut is secondary to SIBO.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that is?
Yes.
SIBO.
Small
Right.
intestinal, yep, bowel.
Small intestine. So you got to work on the FODMAPs foods. You got to work on all foods that cause distress at the level of the digestive system. You want to correct the dysbiosis. You know what that means? Messed up bacteria. Good.
Yep.
I like this, Annalise. I don't have to dumb things down with you. What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm learning health coaching, and
Love it. It's awesome. All right, good.
so
Because I'm just gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you with everything. Correct
hit
the
me
diet,
with it
and
all.
everybody hit you with it all. Everybody listening, so you know, fibroids are a sign of excess estrogen. Estrogen in combination with something called histamine that gets in from the intestine is like a nuclear bomb of growth. So growth's going to occur everywhere, and I don't want to freak you out or anything, but that includes cancerous growths. So you're at risk for those. You're at risk for all of that stuff. So this is very important. Are your menstrual cycles? I would guess your menstrual cycles are disturbed in some way.
Well, they're regular, but it's been very heavy for a couple of years, and
yeah, that's the hormone estrogen.
yes,
You're very estrogenic, and that's related to the hypothyroidism is related to the excess the heavy estrogen. You're built estrogenically. And I'm only seeing your head, but from your facial features and from your hair, those are estrogenic signs of estrogen anyway. But here's the problem. Estrogen has to be eliminated quickly out of the body. It's very powerful stuff. It makes things grow. And if it's not eliminated quickly, it builds up. And once it builds up, you're off to the disease races. And that's where the hypothyroid comes in, and that's where the whole spinning triangle comes in, because the thyroid regulates the digestive system, which makes the estrogen problems worse. Histamine, which comes in from the intestine, that amplifies estrogen. So your key is the intestine. Key. Now, you may also have some issues with the stomach. I don't know, pancreas. Sometimes you don't make enough stomach acid. Those have to be addressed too. But right now, as we say, stop the bleeding. Do a food diary, eliminate problem foods. Problem foods have to be identified by digestive symptoms. You said earlier, maybe I misunderstood. It sounded like you said you didn't have any digestive symptoms. That just means you got to find them. They're there.
Yeah, I don't seem to have, yeah.
You got to find them. Look for them. Okay,
Yeah.
Things go under the radar. Now, here's the thing that's a little bit concerning. You said you're 45. You're very young for all this. You're very young for this. So that tells me it's been going on for a while. And it hasn't been corrected. And the fact that you say you don't have any digestive problems kind of makes me think that something's been going on your whole life or a long time and you don't know it and you don't notice
Possibly.
it. So
I'm a very busy mom of 6, so
this is that doesn't help. Yeah, I got
you look after everyone else.
You know what? What do they tell you in the airplane when the oxygen comes down? You put the oxygen on you first so you can take care of everybody else, right? So in any case, it's very important that you get into the core of the intestinal issues. That's where everything starts, and that's where all the bad stuff, I don't even want to repeat it. Also, you're heading into menopause. You'll probably have an early menopause, I would guess. And it's not going to be easy if you don't really take care of it at this level. And that's the gut. Now, blood sugar follows. That's the second point on the triangle of disease. And you'll notice that digestion and blood sugar have a lot in common. The first point, I should say, and the second point have a lot in common. What do you think they have in common, the first point and the second point, Bronwyn? The first 2 points. They have something very important in common. What?
Well, what you put in your mouth.
Yes, food. The first point is obviously the processing of the food. The second point is the derivation of energy from the food. So if you have problems with the derivation of energy, you get these two opposite things happening. One thing is you're not processing energy correctly, so you don't have energy. So you're lethargic. You don't feel like you don't have a lot of energy. And number two, all that energy is still in your body in the form of fat. And I'm not talking about just like not being able to wear your pants fat, but visceral fat inside, in the belly, around the organs. And that's not good stuff at all. That's very bad stuff, especially in conjunction with histamine and estrogen. So you got to get the blood sugar thing under control. And if you go to the doctor, they may say your blood sugar is normal, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what they say.
Yeah.
They're going by a metric, a test, a standard. You just go by you. So the problem with insulin is that also revs things up. See, all these things are happening in your body that are revving things up. Growth, division, secretion, heavy periods, all this stuff. Your system is revved up, and it's not processing that energy to where you have energy. It's just the metabolism is revved up. They call it metabolic syndrome. Okay?
Wow.
Everything's revved up in there. This happens to us all. This happens to all of us. Everybody listening out there, this is how it happens. It's generic. Does that make sense? Does that land when I say it's generic? You know what I'm saying? Everybody has it. It's how the body breaks down. And so you'll go to this endocrinologist and this GI guy and neurologist and OBGYN and this specialist and that specialist. It's generic. There's no special, nothing special here. It's all how it breaks down the same. So here's the thing, though. Then you go on to once you start having problems with insulin and your blood sugar and all the toxicity that's coming in from the digestive tract, from the intestine, the first 2 points on the triangle of disease, metabolic syndrome and digestive issues, the toxicity, they wreak havoc on the steroid hormone system. They throw it completely out of whack. The steroid hormones, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, DHEA, you may not have heard of, most people have heard of testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. We'll leave it at that. There's a whole slew of them. They get completely out of whack. For men, that shows up as low T. For women, that shows up as high E. And by high E, I mean high toxic E. There's several forms of E. One you need, and it's cleared out of your body. The second is toxic, and it doesn't get cleared out. It happens when you have a liver issue, which follows insulin problems. It happens when you have insulin and blood sugar problems. You start to intestinal problems, gallbladder problems, bile problems. I don't know, do you have your gallbladder? You have your gallbladder, right? Okay. So this is why women by the way, are more predisposed to gallbladder problems, especially post-menopause. Women have serious bile problems because of this whole relationship between clearing of estrogen and estrogen not being eliminated as it should. So what happens is toxic estrogen builds up. And it's a special form of estrogen. They call that catechol estrogens. And they're super, like estrogen already revs you up. These are super rev you up ones. This is why, by the way, most chronic diseases affect women. Do you know this?
Wow.
Women suffer from most chronic diseases. Estrogen. So clearing of estrogen, balancing of estrogen is super important. Once you start building up estrogen, it's a mess. It's such a mess that almost every woman feels like hot flashes and night sweats and all the menopausal things are normal. We're told they're normal. No. They're not normal. They're normal for us, but they're not the way the body is supposed to respond to the changes in hormone that occur. And not all women have it, by the way. It happens most women, but not all women. So in any case, that's what happens when estrogen starts to build up. So balancing out estrogen also becomes important. So you got the whole digestive thing. I didn't tell you about a food diary, but that's important. And fasting before you do a food diary may help you. You may want to consider that. Do you have fibromyalgia, by the way? Do you know what fibromyalgia is? Do you know what that is? Do you know what it is?
Like pain in the joints?
Muscle. Yeah, muscle, more tissue.
No.
Okay, good. Because fibromyalgia.
So I've recently started on the keto type diet, so I'm trying to do that.
Perfect. Look for foods though. Don't pay attention to foods that you think are good or that you're told are good or the society thinks are good because they may be bad for you. For example, some people have a problem with tomatoes. Some people have a problem with oranges. Some people have a problem with broccoli. And these are all good things, but some people have a problem with them. Okay? If you can do cruciferous vegetables, by the way, all ladies out there, cruciferous vegetables are your best friend because they're important for helping clear out estrogen. So you get the picture here? Okay? Estrogen is one of the best things you can do to balance out estrogen is your ultimate EFAs, and that's in our Healthy Start pack. So you're going to get on that?
I'm on that.
I would get on that, and I would also recommend the anything that you're already on the Healthy Start pack, so probably anything with the sweeties, the ultimate niacin, ultimate selenium, anything that helps you with your blood sugar.
Yep. So
And
I'm
you
doing
also
that.
want, good. All right. And then all the digestive support. You also have the iron deficiency anemia, right? And they want to give you iron. Was that you?
Yeah. So they want to give me an iron infusion because I have no stores whatsoever, apparently.
No what?
Stores like of ferritin or
No
anything.
ferritin. I got you. Well, I don't know if that's the case. You may not have in your blood. I don't know
Mm.
if they know about story. It may be low in your blood, but here's the thing.
So I don't know what to do.
I'm telling you what to do. This is the whole point here.
Mm.
Iron deficiency anemia is an apple. You can't take care of the iron deficiency anemia anymore. You can take care of a rotten apple on a tree. It's the end of a liver problem, which is part of your digestive system, which is why you're building up estrogen. Your issue is in the digestive system, and especially the intestine and the liver, probably the gallbladder and the bile. And that's where everything's coming from. So you can't blame your doctors because they're seeing iron deficiency anemia. We're going to give you iron. That's what they do. But if you want to solve, it's not going to solve the problem. You're not going to solve the problem with iron. That's not their job to solve the problem. It's your job to solve the problem. Where's the problem coming from? The liver. The liver processes estrogen. The liver processes iron. The liver, what are the other things you have? Anything else? The liver process, well, once you have estrogen problems, you're going to have hypothyroid problems, but there was something else you said.
The fibroids.
Well, in any case, the liver is where you want to be. Now, another thing I was going to tell you, how is your heart? Your heart's probably strong, right? No issues, cardiovascular problems. Any cardiovascular issues?
Not that they said this time that I got checked.
Sometimes when the heart is not working really as strong as it should, you don't get the circulation and you don't get the oxygen delivery. I don't think that's a problem with you. I say it's your liver and your intestine where it starts, and everything is coming from there. And you can do this yourself, but if it's been going on your whole life, you're not going to notice things. So you want to fast first and then pay very close attention using notes and starting with your favorite foods, because it's usually your favorite foods. Eat very simply. Don't try to eat a 6-course or 5-course or 4-course meal, but eat very, very simply. And so that you can assess, you can do like a scientific experiment. If you have a whole bunch of components, it's hard to isolate what the problem is. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, good. So you're a smart lady, man. You're going to do great. You're going to do great. Did all this make sense?
Yeah. No, sort of.
Perfect.
Yes. I've written it down, but I just want to know what would be the best. Yeah. So liver. So obviously doing
Daily digest
after your liver. Yeah.
Can I suggest, Ben?
The hope also, the hope from Stay Naturals. Hope. It's a blood purifier.
It's called Hope.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Sorry, I missed that one.
Hope is the name of the product.
Yeah, it's a blood purifier, and that will help too. But most importantly, digestion and blood sugar, and then staying away. Well, digestive pack and the blood sugar pack, and then staying away from problem foods or blood sugar nutrients, I guess.
So Ben, can I just ask you, because you're saying that Annalise's issues and anyone else has these issues, the liver has a lot to do with it. Now, because she doesn't think she has problem foods, and you're asking her to fast, I'm thinking, my brain goes straight to, what about the liver doing the liver detox for 30 days?
Liver detox might help too, but I'd want to see what foods you're eating that are messing things up first. But yes, the liver detox is great. Dr. Aria's liver cleanse, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Aria's liver cleanse.
Thinking, oh wow, that's a good way to get people eating properly.
100%. 100%. That'd be great.
And what about the Dr. Conaway's gut health? So I'm looking at doing that. And
are you working with Dr. Conaway? Are you working with her?
I've been listening to stuff of hers on the health coaching stuff.
Yeah, she knows, I can point you about her. She's the digestive guru. She knows she's the one to go to for digestive questions, and she's great. I highly recommend if you email her or something like that. I can point you in that direction, but she knows much more about the ins and outs of it than I do.
Yeah, so I thought about doing that soon.
Yes, I would.
And my husband as well.
Anything Joanne Conaway's got, I support. And then also Bronie, that's a very good point. Dr. Aria's liver cleanse. It's great point.
I mean, there's more
and
than one
be
way
a new
to
woman.
skin a cat.
I can't wait to see the transformation, Annalise.
Excellent.
Me as
So
well.
do I take that blood, that iron infusion? I need to get back to my
I
doctor.
can't tell you what I can't tell you what to do. That's on your.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to hurt you, so I don't in that way. But you know, we'll take care of the problem where the problem really is.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amazing.
Thank
I
you.
enjoy listening to you so much. I was so excited
I
you were
love it.
on the call the other night, in the middle of the night, when Bronie and I were.
I appreciate that. You know, I always find I'm like in the skin business and I make skincare products. And so
Yes.
I always find that women, or mostly women, they like hearing about stuff like that because you use the products, but you don't really know about them. But you use them
Oh,
and you use them all whole life, but you don't really know them. And it's the same thing with this. It's like you have a body, you know you have it, and you have these problems, but then you start to hear about it, it kind of puts the dots together. It's a
I
really
just love
interesting.
all the scientific everything that, I
Yeah,
just love it that way.
that's awesome. I
But me
appreciate that.
explaining that to other people is difficult, but I love,
No,
learning about
you
that.
we'll simplify it. That's what's really cool about this. It's not really like you don't have to be a doctor to understand this, right? Did I say anything
Yep.
doctory here? No doctory
No,
stuff,
it's just amazing.
right?
Yep.
Oh, all right,
Anyway,
cool.
it's my passion, and I just want to
If
help,
Bronie can
others.
understand him, anyone can.
No,
I'm
I
like the
don't believe
guinea
that.
pig. I have to fix myself first.
That's excellent. We're gonna have you
And that's
fix
the
it.
best testimonial you can.
It's the best testimonial, 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mm.
Thank you, Annalise. Now, Harry hasn't got his camera on. I don't know whether he can put his camera on so I can spotlight him. He has a friend. Here he is. Oh,
Friend, Harry the Flying Angel.
Yeah, still flying.
He has a friend who has sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea.
And he's 82 years of age, has early dementia. He's 120 pounds, and he fell out of bed the other day because he stopped breathing. And Harry wants to know if there's a way we can help him.
Yeah,
he's sleep apnea.
It change his life. Yeah, absolutely.
Without a machine.
First of all, he's in his 80s and he's
82.
82 and he's got dementia. You're not going to change his entire life. He could though. Theoretically, sleep apnea is inflammation and at the level of the respiratory tract where you're breathing, and that's follows blood sugar issues and obesity and weight issues. Dementia also involves blood sugar, and it's the same thing. So what you're talking about is this triangle of disease. The same idea. You're not going to change his life. He's 82. But what you can do is you can get him a CPAP machine. You know what that is?
Yeah, you muted Harry. Apparently, I think he already has one of those. But
no, he hasn't got one. They're about $4,000 to buy here.
Well, whatever they are, that's what he wants. He needs to have oxygen. This is a guy who's suffocating, and his brain is suffocating. It's throwing everything off. It's aging him, and it's going to lead to all kinds of horrible things. Dementia is pretty horrible, but even worse, physiologic. He needs oxygen. The guy's suffocating. You can go 30 days without food. You can go 3 days or 5 days without water, or 7 days. You can't go 3 minutes without oxygen. Oxygen's the primary need, and if he's got sleep apnea, he's not breathing, he's not sleeping, he's not sleeping well, he's not breathing, not getting oxygen, I should say. That's going to affect the brain, and all follows inflammation, which itself follows the triangle of disease. Is everybody getting this whole thing? How it shows up over and over and over and over?
Yeah, so we sort of kind of got inflammation around the
inflammation. It's distortion in the tissue. The tissue gets distorted. Oxygen doesn't get in there, and you actually stop breathing for a second.
Is there something we can do to help that, like our oxy toddy or whatever it's called?
No, it's not a nutritional. It's mechanical. Well, you can get rid of the inflammation is what you should be doing. But like I said, he's 82. He's not gonna. What's he gonna stop? Change the way he eats all of a sudden? You can give him the minimum. Look, you can only do what you can do. Look, everything we talk about depends on one thing. We can adjust the body in dramatic ways. We can recalibrate it, because that's what this is really about. You get it? It's recalibration. It's out of calibration. We can recalibrate the body, but there's one thing, one magical ingredient. We call it the rate limiting step in chemistry. You know what that is? Willingness.
Desire.
With desire. You got to want it. You got to want it. If you want it, it can be done. And you know what? That's a metaphor for a lot of things. If you want it, it can be done. And I can tell, it's no knock, I'm not insulting anybody, but sometimes people don't want it. They don't want it bad enough. Or they want it, but they don't want it bad enough. So anyway, that's why he's 82. What are you going to do? I say a CPAP machine. And if it's $4,000, do a GoFundMe because it'll add years to his life and it'll, it'll help his brain a lot. He's probably suffocating.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
You bet. Thank you, Harry
You're
the Flying Angel. What's that?
Yeah, thank you. You're a champion. You're a warrior.
I am a warrior. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah, you are.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
We are blessed to have you come.
Peaceful warrior. A peaceful warrior.
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, Harry, hopefully that helped a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've got to get Magda's lunch now, but I'll just excuse myself from the camera. But thank you so much. I'm still listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. And you know what? Let me tell you something, Harry. My dad had dementia, and I think I probably told you, you probably heard this. I used to sneak in beyond Tangy Tangerine in the nursing home, and I would watch him drink it and right in front of him. So you can go a long way with some BTT and some TMR. TMR grounding food, protein. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Blessings.
Yeah, so both those things will help him, Harry.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Bronie.
You're welcome. Okay, now I have a question from one of my clients in the US who has a friend who has burning pain in her face, right? Every day. She can't function. She sits in front of a fan, ice pack.
And what? Ice pack?
She sits in front of a fan with an ice pack on her face day and night.
That poor woman.
Yeah, and she just can't even function. She can't even take her kids to school anymore because she just.
All right.
She's desperate. So how can we help her?
All right, we can help her. We can help her. So I like telling you how these things happen. I'm not just doing it. I want you to understand it so you can do it too. Because it's not complicated. Don't let them tell you it's complicated. It's not complicated. What's the commonality of all? Well, there's a few, but what's
usually the food?
No, hang on. No, let me get a little straight. What is always immediately precedes a chronic condition? Immediate precedes. Yes, there's food and the whole triangle for sure. But what's the immediate precedent? Those are the things that have to happen, but the way they work is through a process called, I guess I'll tell you because it's hard to explain it, inflammation. Okay? It's all inflammation. I want everybody to understand this. Yes, it's a triangle, but the triangle works because of inflammation. Yes, it's disturbed chemistry. The body's constantly doing this. Look at me. You guys, can you see this? It's constantly doing this. Except it's doing it on a scale that we can't even begin to comprehend. It's just doing this, trillions and gazillions. You know, a cell is capable of producing 1 billion chemical reactions a second. Like, boop, 1 billion things just happen. That's the kind of, you got 100 trillion cell. So you can't even picture it, but there's a constant balancing. When the system is disturbed, it's supposed to adjust itself. Over time, that does not happen. And the main reason it doesn't happen, this is so important, I'm going to say, is because the body is in a chronic state of protection. It's in a chronic state of protection. So it loses its flexibility, its ability to move back and forth. It's creating walls and barriers. Those walls and barriers and protection are what we call inflammation. Inflammation is a protective response against something. It's a defensive response. So whenever you have redness, whenever you have pain in the nerves, peripheral neuropathy, facial neuropathy, whenever you have imbalances in hormones or in the building of bone or skeletal tissue, or problems at the biochemical levels in organs, like in the pancreas for diabetes or in the intestine for digesting your food, you have inflammation. Inflammation is a protective response. If you have a protective response, we'll say a defensive response, what does that tell you? What is a prerequisite for a defensive response? An offending agent. An offending agent. The offending agent is always going to be food. Always, unless you're injecting. If you inject, then it can happen too. And there's a tremendous amount of crossover between chronic illness and injections. Crack addicts, meth addicts, heroin addicts, they're violating the sanctity of the blood by entering in through the skin. Now, most of us don't do that, and nature has set up a system where we have to violate the sanctity of the blood, but we have mechanisms in place to protect it. Once things get into the blood, you are off to the races. This is a lady, and anytime you have redness or pain or inflammation, they call it, or heat, they call it Dolour, Rhubar, Calor, and Tumour. Dolour means pain, Rhubar means redness, Calor means heat, Tumour means swelling. You always have, always have a protective response to an offending agent. Now, there's also inflammation that occurs in a place you don't see it. That happens very tiny levels. She's seeing it here. That's a major inflammatory response. But it can also happen invisibly. Yeah. And this is where chronic disease occurs from. Arthritis and heart disease and cancer and all the diseases we have are the end result of invisible microscopic inflammation. When it gets really, really bad, that's when you get this kind of stuff. That's severe. That's a lady whose metabolism is majorly disturbed. That doesn't happen to little kids. This happens when the neurology is tremendously disturbed. There's toxicity that's probably getting into that area, I would say through the gut. It could also involve estrogen. It's the triangle, really. Who is this? Do you know this person?
No, I don't. I just know her through one of my...
You know how old she is? Do you know anything about her?
No. Only that she's a mum and she can
I need to ask her a whole bunch of questions if we're going to help her. But I want everybody to see the mechanism here. That's called neuropathy, by the way. Usually it happens in the fingers and the toes. Neuropathy, that's when it happens in the extremities, they call peripheral neuropathy. That means the periphery. But it can happen anywhere. And it's always the result of inflammation at the level of the nerves. That inflammation usually involves foods, or it can involve estrogen, or it can involve disturbances, a breakdown and microinflammation at the level of the nerves and the level of the blood, the circulation, the capillaries. And there's a lot of capillaries in the face. There's a lot of blood in the face. So that usually happens to diabetics. That's occurs under conditions of diabetes, also in conditions of certain nutrient deficiencies, particularly vitamin B1, thiamine. So that might be something. The Beyond Tangy Tangerines you might want to try. That might be something. Thiamine, vitamin B1 is a ridiculously underappreciated and equally incredibly valuable nutrient that most people don't get enough of, especially for neuropathies. Also, I don't know if we don't have any alpha lipoic acid, really high doses in any of our products, but I would get some alpha lipoic acid. That you might want to try that. You know what that is? Have you heard that?
Well, no? Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes, I've heard of it, but I don't know.
A really good supplement for neuropathy.
Per se.
It's a really good supplement for neuropathies, but you have to get it outside the company. And I don't even know if it's legal in where you're at. It probably is, I think.
This stays in the US, so if it's available in the US,
I would get alpha lipoic acid, 800 milligrams of that. But I would be looking. You want to ask her other things. Again, we have this idea that we can take care of the apple, right? The apple's already rotten. Oh, I got this rotten apple. What are you going to do about it? It's rotten. I can't do anything about it. I got to figure out if we're going to correct it. We got to correct it at the soil, the cause of it. The doctors have us all hoodwinked into believing we can take care of the rotten apple, and it doesn't work. And that's obviously it doesn't work, but we keep going back. What's the definition of insanity? Right?
I'm not going to say, because some might say that I am insane, but anyway.
Careful what we say. I almost got kicked off of YouTube. I wonder if it had something to do with something we said here.
Yes, well,
I was put in YouTube jail, YouTube prison. So anyway, what's Who else do we got?
Okay, well, Karen's room has a question. And Karen, can you unmute my friend? Karen's room there. I'm going to add her to the spotlight.
What's up there, guys? Hi, Karen.
I don't know what her question is, but she said there's a question in the room.
Where's my friend Kevin? Is Kevin around?
I don't know where Kevin is.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. Do you want me to sit in? Yeah. Can you see? Can you see Ben? Yeah.
You're the important one we need to see. Those that are asking the question. I can see you.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Fire away.
Okay. I've done a gluteus medius tear, 20 millimeter. But since I've had this about 2 months ago, and it's healing slowly, but I've now got basmatis. And I think you've just answered my question about inflammation.
Okay, come a little closer to the mic so we can hear you.
I heard something about a tear. I heard something about a tear and bursitis.
Right there. There?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I did my gluteus medius. I've got a 20 millimeter tear in it. I had
you tore a muscle. Which muscle did you tear?
The gluteus medius.
Your gluteus. Okay, gotcha.
And I
Okay, how'd you do that? How'd you tear your gluteus? Yoga?
I have
No idea. Well, that's very interesting. You said that. We'll talk about that in a second. So you tore your gluteus, and now you have some bursitis going on.
And now I've got bursitis, which is kind of like,
gotcha.
No, it's inflammation.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Hang on. Now, the fact that you had no idea how you tore your gluteus is very instructive. That's very important. Let me tell you why. It means that you didn't do anything dramatic, like yoga stretch or fall or something weird like that. It happened on its own, which means the tissue is breaking down. The tissue is starting to break down. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
The gluteus, the muscle tissue, is starting to break down, which tells me it's not getting fed, it's not getting nourished, it's not healthy, basically. It's not healthy tissue. Okay? Are you with me?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, good. Okay, so listen, you should know this because this is not inevitable. This is not inevitable. This is not an inevitability, but if you don't know about it, you can't do anything. Nobody can tell you. So it's not inevitable. You can correct this. We only have 9 minutes, but this is important for everybody because you see the central part of the body, I call it the flesh robot. Have you heard me say the flesh robot? The flesh robot is the part of the body that does the work. Like if you ever see the bodies exhibit? Do they have the bodies exhibit in Australia or New Zealand? You know what that is? The bodies exhibit is this museum exhibit that goes to all the museums in the United States where they show you bodies without the skin. And you see the flesh robot. The flesh robot is the connective tissue and the muscle tissue. And this is the part of the body that breaks down as we age that we hate. This is why we hate aging. Everything we hate about aging, the back pain and the joint pain and the hunched over appearance and the weakness and the inability to move and the wrinkles and the prolapses and the hernias, they're all the shrinking of the flesh robot. So building and strengthening the flesh robot is the very key of anti-aging and good health. And I don't have a lot of time here, so I can't tell you everything, but it's so much more than that. I'm giving you the tip of the iceberg on it, but just so it makes sense to you. So you got to start building your tissue. That's what you got to start doing. Now there's anti-inflammation. You got some pain going on there. Yes, you tore your muscle. It likely not. I don't want to. I hesitate to like curse you by saying things, but it could be that it doesn't heal right if you don't know what you're doing. And I'm taking I take it you have not addressed this through supplementation. You probably haven't. You probably didn't even know this. So you can do a lot. The bad news is you're very deficient. The good news is there's a ton you can do. Now, I'm going to tell you some stuff to do, but that presupposes the triangle. You follow? That presupposes digestion and blood sugar because they play a major role in the deterioration of tissue. And we only have a few minutes here, so I'm just going to tell you how to build tissue, but keep in mind you got to do the whole triangle. Hope everybody gets that. So for building tissue, you should be doing things like whey protein, You should be doing high doses of the Beyond Tangerine, like vitamin C. Vitamin C is very important for the building of tissue. You should be trying to muscle build if you can. High protein foods. I don't know if you're a vegetarian. If you're a vegetarian, it's going to be a little bit harder. High protein foods, whey, bone broth, aloe vera. And then for the longevity products, the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack.
Yeah.
But again, that presupposes that you're good on the digestive front, which is not always, most of the time it's not the case. And the blood sugar thing, and maybe even at the level of cortisol and your steroid hormones and all there. So there's a lot of other things going on, but you should be, I don't want to say concerned, but you should be paying attention to the fact that you're breaking down. I can't see you talk, I'm only seeing your eyes. I can't see how old you are, so I can't tell. Because can you back up a little bit so I can see?
73, but looking good.
Okay, you're 73. It's not like you're a freak. This is normal. This is very normal. But you should, this is normal. We all break down this way, especially if you don't know, right? You follow what I'm saying? But now you know, and now you can add years of wonderful, strong, vital, resilient in your body life. Now that you know.
Can this also come from the fact that you talk about everything being from the gut, which of course
Always.
it is. I have no gallbladder. I've had.
Well, duh. As Dr. Wallach. Dr. Wallach goes, duh. Yes, yeah. That's absolutely, of course. Of course.
So,
of course. What does the gallbladder do? The gallbladder helps you absorb. It says so much stuff. It's ridiculous how many different things the gallbladder does for our health. But one of the things it does is it's important for you to be able to get your building vitamins, your building nutrients, your epigenetic factors, your genetic turn-ons. You're not getting those. What's worse is once you start to process fats incompletely or not in an elegant fashion, sparks of fat come off. And by sparks of fat, I mean fat molecules. And these fat molecules are mega inflammatory. Mega. They're literally the molecules of inflammation. And they're sparks that fly off of incompletely digested fats. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Incompletely digested fats give off sparks of inflammatory fats. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So what would be better? What would be good for the gallbladder? For the fat?
You can eat a whole, that's what I'm saying. I knew that there'd be digestive and blood sugar issues, and that's why I always hesitate to go right to the core of it. But listen, you guys, how many times have you heard it today? It's always digestion and blood sugar. It's always the same. And I'll just say it again so we all know. You fast first if you can. Not everybody can, fair enough. But if you can, that clears the deck, and you start to notice things more. If you can't, you can. It's a little bit harder if you can. So whatever. Then you do a food diary where you write things down, and then you see how you feel from a digestive perspective and a skin perspective. You have skin issues, and because they go together, and a digestive perspective, and also sometimes a brain fog kind of perspective because it's really bad. You start to notice things. Now, this is easier said than done, but it's very important because we don't live in our bodies. We live in our heads. And so we don't notice things because we're here, not here. So this requires something called interoception. Interoception means perception inside. And that it's a skill. And that's why I say it's easier said than done, but it's very important. It's very important if you really want to add years to your life. And you're 72, you got 30 years left if you do this thing right. It's a long time. But you want it right, but you want to do it right. So it's worth it. So look for that, and then blood sugar is probably involved, the thyroid, and the whole bit. But for now, work on your digestive system, and then do all the healthy bone and joint stuff that we just talked about.
So thank you very much. But also for the gallbladder, is there anything I can take?
Ultimate enzymes are gallbladder in a bottle.
Enzymes.
Yes.
Ultimate enzymes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Very welcome. Well, I know you have to go, Ben. So
I must be off, but my Australian friends, I love you guys, and New Zealand.
Now listen here, Ben. Before you disappear, you're back with us in a fortnight's time.
fortnight's time. That's October the
We
20th.
will be on the Gold Coast at our big event, so you will be featured.
You sure?
in
The
it.
21st? Is that the 21st?
Yeah, your 21st, our 22nd. We have Sean Brown coming to Australia.
I
And
just was
you
with
are-
Sean Brown, lovely man.
You will be our major event that day. And
I
will talk to you. I will send you a message later because I've already been asked what to get you to talk on. So,
what do I have to talk on? What's my topic?
well, a bit thyroid, women's issues mainly.
Women's issues. Oh, my
Thyroid
sisters.
and a few
My
things.
sisters
I will give you
suffering.
a rundown with that.
All right.
So,
All right. Bye,
all right.
everybody.
Well, as I asked you all really nicely in Bronie's world, I ask you all nicely to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you are taking care of that gut issue, you be surprised what else it will do. Then you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. Catch you again tomorrow here. Bye, everyone.
See you, James.